defense. Do you foresee a scenario where, you're going to just peel back the curtain and we'll see a lot more RPOs with Jalen Hurts, or do you believe they'll come out firing and test that Giants secondary early on?
I think that the latter. I think they'll come out firing. I think regardless of the shoulder, they feel like they got two alpha males at wide receiver. They feel like they got a top 3 tight end and Goddard. So from that situation, regardless of what they want to do in terms of the running game and the RPO, they're going to test the Giants corners, safeties early on to see what's happening. If they withstand it, then you may see them transition back to a run first approach. But if they can't, then it's bombs away.
Listen, we know one thing. Miles Sanders has had some big games against the Giants. Boston Scott he's a giant killer. He's like what Dave Meggett used to be for the Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles back in the day with that reference. I think after watching yesterday, so let's get into yesterday for a moment, then we'll get into Saturday's game a little more. We know it's a knee-jerk reaction when we watch something, right? And it just amazed me that when you listen to certain talking heads and whatnot, I still believe they don't buy into what Daniel Jones has done. Now, I've gone on the record of saying this, Glenn. I was not sold fully on Daniel Jones because I was just a staunch supporter and fan of Eli Manning. So after 15, 16 years, it's like, all right, I'm going to invite some stranger into my house. You got to win me over a little bit, right? So he's done that, though, especially early on with his legs, the toughness. The game against Jacksonville really showed me something. We saw what he was able to do later on in the season. He's cut down the turnovers. I went on the record saying he was going to have 65 plus yards in that game yesterday. That was the X factor, his legs. So when you scout Daniel Jones, when you saw what they just did offensively, where I think they only had one series where they had a punt, they went up and down the field against Minnesota. Where are you at with Daniel Jones is the type of rhythm that he's in right now going into this game Saturday night against the Eagles?
I think from an athletic standpoint and from a skill standpoint, it would kind of be like looking in the mirror. So is Jones the kind of athlete that Jalen Hurts is? No, but we've seen him take the ball 60 yards against the Eagles. We've seen him keep the ball. So I think from that standpoint, he's had their attention a long time ago. So Sunday did nothing to sway or determine how they're going to prepare for him. You're going to see them come off the edges hard, but you're going to also see them prepare for him as a runner. I think they prefer for him to beat them with his legs and with his arms, but I think they're prepared for both things.
I think overall talent, Jalen Hurts is more talented quarterback because more playmaker, so to speak. But natural throw of the football, Daniel Jones is the better quarterback when it comes to that. I'll debate people that all day long, and I think you got a new wrinkle now. So yes, are the Eagles going to sit here? We're going to stack the box. We're going to try to make you beat us. Quick hitches, slants. We'll take away Saquon, who only had 9 carries, over 100 total yards, though, catching the ball out of the backfield. I think if they do that early, the Giants might struggle because against superior DBs, secondary, these guys have had a tough time kind of getting separation. I mean, they're nice receivers. Don't get me wrong. Hodgins and Slayton, who, had the big drop yesterday. That game would have been over. And then Richie James, they've been serviceable. But I can foresee the Eagles, defensively kind of stacking a box and saying, all right, let's see if number 8 can beat us.
Certainly. I think with having C.J. Gardner-Johnson back in the lineup, you're surely to get that. If we get Avonte Maddox back, we'll know in a few days in terms of his toe. But if he's back, then you'll definitely get a situation where they're going to try to take away Saquon and make those other guys beat him. Now, if you have a situation where Maddox is not back, then a guy like Richie James and those other guys, they can give me some concern in the slot because at that point, you'll have more zone coverage than man-to-man. So I think over the next few days, we'll try to figure it out. But what you're not going to have is Saquon Barkley go off whatsoever. So it'll be a situation where it'll be on Daniel Jones and those other guys to win that game on Saturday night.
Which